Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn. I mean, every time I see you here, the accommodations get a little bit more plush.
Well, plush for you, Rahim, because obviously everyone's already done their interviews, but you turned up about half an hour late, and I'll be having to wait for you. Do you know what I mean? This is the danger when you become, you know, a major name like yourself in the industry. Well, I have to wait for you rather than the other way around. You know? A lot of these people are waiting for me at the press conferences, following me around all week. I feel like I'm following you around. You know, I'm waiting for you.
No,
so,
Eddie,
thank you for giving me your time today. I appreciate it.
Listen, this is always the most enjoyable part of my entire fight week. You think I would make you wait on purpose?
No, you know,
it hurts my heart every minute we're not together.
If it wasn't for your little, this is Radio Rahim with Eddie
Hearn,
I would have just binned you off and fucked off over there somewhere.
That Hearn comes from the heart, and that's what you need to know. All right, so. The thing about being in plush surroundings and huge fights, like you're no stranger to huge fights, but I would say the magnitude of the run you've had here in Saudi is probably unmatched. Are there other fights beyond like the heavyweight division that you could potentially bring here to make this kind of occasion?
Yeah, I said the other day, fighters have got to be a little bit careful not to just wait for the call. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like activity is really important, and fighters are too inactive these days. The problem is now is obviously, you know, the financial element of making a fight here can make a fighter wait for that opportunity. So the focus seems to be on the heavyweight division, but His Excellency is a fight fan, you know, and obviously a lot of our fighters who we signed a deal with have additional fights planned in if they can happen. Dimitri Bivol, it's well documented. He's a good example that, you know, His Excellency would like to bring the undisputed fight to Saudi. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think it's just the heavyweight division. I don't think it's just one promoter. I don't think he cares for that. You know, I don't think they're looking to align in any specific way long term. It's just, I will look at every fight on an individual basis and make a decision of what we feel like is the right fight to bring to the kingdom.
Well, everything you've just said is kind of in line with my thinking. You've DM'd Tank Davis. We know that Tank, while not anywhere close to a heavyweight, has the kind of knockout power that brings that kind of heavyweight sensation to a fight. And because the promotion is not really important to Saudi, this could be the place where a fight like Haney, Davis, that can't be made in the States because of promotional wrangling and such, could possibly be made here. Is that the potential you're reaching out to him for?
No, we've had, you know, a couple of territories that would like to stage that fight, but certainly I'm sure Saudi would be very interested in hosting a Tank Davis fight. That's not it's only my opinion. I don't know that for fact, but maybe it's not part of their plans, you know. I think because of the seasons here, I have no idea if it's going to be 12 months of the year or if it's going to be specific times of the year. You know, they've had a great run with Fury and Ngannou, Day of Reckoning, Fury Usyk, maybe AJ against Wilder. Who knows what will happen after that? It's a hell of a run in 6 months.
Right. Like you say, though, the fighters are waiting for like Saudi to call. I'm not saying Tank is, but I'm saying every fighter wants the biggest payday. And now you seem to be the guy, along with Frank, that can bring this payday for everyone.
Yeah, I think that this is our third fight in Saudi. Obviously, Frank did Fury and Ngannou. He's got a good relationship as well. Bob Arum's. I honestly feel like it doesn't really matter who the promoter is. They're going to look at each fight on an individual basis. And they want the biggest fights.
When you reach out to guys like Tank Davis, I remember in the past you reached out to Adrian Broner, who did kind of the same thing, put it on Front Street, made it public. Do you feel burned by that?
It's not what I do. You know, I feel like if I'm reaching out to someone on a business level, in a professional capacity, you don't really expect them to screenshot a DM and then post it straight on Twitter and then delete it 2 minutes after. But that's Tank's way. You know, every time I DM him, I know there's a very good chance he's going to air that. But it's the way I communicate with him. And, I heard Len Ellaby's comments. My job, Tank's a free agent, right? So why wouldn't I contact him? He's one of the biggest stars in the sport. I want to work with the biggest stars in the sport. I'm going to slide in his DMs and I'm going to try my luck. Do you know what I mean? If it works or not, I don't care. I've got thick skin. You know, I want to show him the opportunities that exist for him out there. But some people are very good at making fighters not listen to anything else. Do you know what I mean? And some people are very good at making fighters listen to only specific things or things they want to spin to a fighter. If I'm Tank Davis, I'm keeping myself nice and independent and I'm looking at all the opportunities out there, because the one time that Tank Davis didn't fight in-house, he made a fortune against Ryan Garcia. And he can make a fortune against Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, all non-in-house fights. But of course, the PBC will do everything they can to make him fight in-house fights.
Is there any way in which you can, in the future, work with any PBC fighter? I mean, it took Wilder separating.
A lot of them don't have contracts. So Deontay Wilder left PBC, or didn't really leave him because he didn't have a contract, and now he's fighting on DAZN. Fantastic. Anyone can do it, but I think flexibility is important. The opportunity to make big fights away from your network, away from your, not necessarily away from your promoter, but if they exist. And I like DAZN's position because they have shown they're willing to work with people. Gervonta Davis's last fight was on DAZN. It was also on Showtime. Deontay Wilder's fight is on DAZN. It's also on ESPN Plus. Do you know what I mean? Because DAZN are choosing to move in that way. And I think that's really reassuring for a fighter, that you're not going to get isolated into just making fights with your platform and your roster, Like now, if you're Tank Davis, who am I going to fight? If I fight in-house, it's probably going to have to be an Isaac Cruz rematch. That's not going to do any business,
We've heard that Ryan Garcia has reached out to Devin Haney. Are you involved in those talks?
Well, he reached out to me, and Oscar reached out to me and Eric, and we've had some very positive conversations. We're speaking to DAZN, and we will both present an offer to Devin and to Ryan, hopefully next week. And I believe Ryan. I actually believe he wants to make that fight. And I know Devin will take that fight. I think it's a massive fight. Ryan's already shown the commercial pull that he has in the Tank Davis fight. We know Tank's a big star. Devin's now a big star. And it's a really good fight. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that fight can get made for the spring.
You say the spring. Both of these guys have draw. We know that Devin's been over to Saudi before.
He'll be here this week.
He'll be here this week now. I know that. Is it potentially, I realize it could be a main event fight anywhere else, but here, could it potentially be on the March 9th card?
I mean, we will present His Excellency with opportunities, and, I think there's a lot of talk about a Wilder-Joshua fight on March 9th, but a lot of things have got to happen for that fight to happen. If that fight didn't happen, it looks like March 9 is a show here. And if it didn't happen, I guess they would look at Ryan against Devin and a whole host of other fights. So, yeah, we'll have to see.
When you say there's a lot that has to happen for the Joshua Wilder fight to happen, it makes people nervous, right? Like, we all came here thinking, well, this is the last hurdle to what is assured to be a fight on the 9th. It seemed to be promoted that way. What do you see as the lot of things that have to happen, aside from both of them winning on Saturday night?
The contracts have to get signed and executed, number one. Number two, they both have to win. Number three, they have to win without injury or damage, which is difficult in the heavyweight landscape. It's not a lot of time to turn around. I mean, the reason that I'm not talking too much about it is because we saw with Fury against Usyk, that fight was supposed to be December 23rd. Fury got dropped, nearly got beat, and then it's not on December 23rd. So, March 9 is obviously a date that's been rumoured, but it's going to take a lot for both guys to come through, win, be unscathed, and then we'll see how talks go the next few days, and who knows what could happen. But the focus is honestly just on Saturday night at the moment.
Last on this, because I know it's been talked to death, but every day there seems to be someone has said something else that creates an update. Joshua has said that he is more focused on winning championships, more focused on winning titles than any one man. But obviously the one man that everyone's thinking about is Wilder. Has the idea of fighting for the vacant title against Hergovic, if everybody comes through on Saturday, been something that you see as a viable next option, even if Wilder is willing? Is this something as a promoter you would put forward instead?
It's something that we have to look at. I mean, Josh's ambition is definitely to become world heavyweight champion again. His ambition is also to be in the biggest fights and give the public what they want and make a lot of money. So all of those things have to be considered. You know, the Wilder fight doesn't give him a championship, but it gives him another step to greatness of fighting everybody in the division. And I believe when he beats Deontay Wilder, a shot against Tyson Fury as well. And if he beats Wilder and beats Fury, he's probably the best heavyweight of our generation. And that's a lot of fights to win, but I believe he can do it. So everything has to be considered, but we also acknowledge the size of the Wilder fight, the demand for that fight, and giving people what they want. And he's always, done that, and he's never ducked a challenge.
I know the fighter is the boss. You've always said that, but what is your preferred course of action?
I'm easy, Rahim, to be honest with you. I like making money. That comes with a Deontay Wilder fight. I'd love to see him become champion again. 3-time heavyweight world champion is unbelievable. He is the boss. Whatever he wants to do. I know he wants to fight Deontay Wilder. I'll just say that for now, and we'll see what happens.
He says he wants to fight Deontay Wilder, but again, he says, these titles, maybe I get the title, then we fight down the line, but
he will make the decision. Everything that happens in AJ's career is his decision. He is the boss. If he said to me, what do you think I should do? I would say whatever you feel is in your heart. The money to fight Wilder is monstrous.
But what do you think he should do?
I think a lot depends on, it's not just as easy as the Hergovic fight is there for the IBF title, right? The winner of Fury Usyk has to fight Filip Hergovic, okay? If they don't, it's very likely they'll be stripped. That fight's not till Feb 17. It might not even happen, right? Who knows? Someone could get injured. So you would have to be hoping that the fight happened. They didn't get an exception for the rematch. There's a lot of ifs. Mm-hmm. So probably my advice would be, if this Wilder fight is there and it can be signed and it's there for March 9th, let's do it. But we'll see.
When I talked to Frank, it's fun because I love that you were all here. And I don't know if you remember this, but at the end of last year, almost around the same time as right now, we said that our plan was for promoters to work together in 2023 to make the big fights happen. You promised you'd put it forward. I said I would campaign for it. Yeah. I must admit, I never thought exactly almost a year to the day we'd be sitting here with you and Frank on the same promotion and looking at the potential. How is this relationship now that you have had to work together, that you do shake hands when you see each other on stage?
We've still only met each other once, and it was quite charming. It feels good, to be honest. I mean, I guess, people who aren't as close to boxing, like His Excellency, probably think it's just ridiculous that we have never spoken. And he's not got any interest in, what's going on here? You two, he said that, I don't care. Do you want to do the fights or not? If not, go away. And the answer was, we want to do the fights. We want to provide opportunities for our fighters. And we're competitive, but we're not idiots. So if we have to shake hands and be nice and try to work together for the benefit of our fighters and our company, we're going to do it, and the sport. So it's taken His Excellency to bring us together. Now we're here. I see more in the future. And also on this project, the platform side, the political side seems to be removed as well, which really helps because we've all got our jobs to do. He has to make the best fights for TNT. I have to make the best fights for DAZN. So we can't just work together all the time, and I give him my fighters and he gives me his fighters. But when it makes sense, generally it happens. And on this occasion, it makes sense.
Do you think you take a step beyond just pleasantries and maybe while you're in Saudi or maybe back in London, make an asserted effort to sit at a table and say, hey, can we work this out?
We work a lot with George Warren, who's a major player within the business behind the scenes. He's not interested in doing interviews or, you know, being the front man, but he's been obviously very productive in this situation. So we're always willing. If it makes sense, we're there. So I do believe there's going to be more.
And lastly, I know you've been very generous with my 4 minutes, so let me just bring Wilder to the table. Obviously, he's had a lot of comments about yourself and Joshua. What is the relationship now that Al Haymon is not really in between the two of you? Do you have a collegiate relationship with Joshua? I mean, with Wilder.
Yeah, I don't really know him. You know, we met on a plane. It was quite pleasant. He says a few things that I don't know where they've come from. But whatever, you know, I wish him all the best. You know, he needs to win on Saturday night. It's not a foregone conclusion. If he ever meets Anthony Joshua, of course, I'm going to back AJ. I believe he wins the fight by knockout. Wilder is a very, very dangerous man. I still think he can get beat by a lot of heavyweights, but he can also beat any heavyweight at any moment. So he's great for the game. I just believe AJ's going to smash him up.
What he said about AJ's mental state, and what he said about AJ's...
I mean, this is coming from the guy who, didn't he go to some retreat or something and...
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca toad, is it? I was like, what's that?
I'm not sure how it works, but I do know it's a psychedelic.
Whatever.
Right.
So you want to question someone's mindset and you've gone to a retreat in ayahuasca for some psychedelic drug or something. I don't know. I mean, it's bizarre. Let's start psychoanalyzing that move. No need. It's just what happens in the ring. That's all that matters. AJ's in a great place. He's ready to fight on Saturday. I think you're going to see a great performance.
I think we're all ready for a great performance on Saturday night from multiple fighters on the card. An incredible card. Thank you for the time. And again, putting these fights together with all these promoters in Saudi. What a great year of boxing. Way to bring it to a close. Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn.